Hello, I'm Francis Lawrence. I'm the director of The Hunger Games: Catching Fire, Mockingjay 1, Mockingjay 2, and also The Hunger Games: The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes.
Hollywood's elites just committed the unimaginable. Francisco Lawrence and Steven Spin. In addition to separating with Rachel Zegler, two of the most influential directors in history publicly and apparently had the whole intention of ruining the budding star's career. This wasn't a vague rumor from the industry. This had been planned strategically for years, and there had always been rumors. Spielberg and Lawrence are no longer whispering, but Zegler was a difficult, entitled person who disrespected the legends who founded the field she entered.
This woman is extraordinarily woke, as everyone is in Hollywood, but she's woke in a way that's quite direct.
It is said that they are exposing everything. The beginning of catastrophes. The divas. Actions and the ego that ate up whole productions. The worst aspect is that they're not using tabloids to do it. Allegedly, they're carrying it out through important back channels. Showrunners, casting directors, and studio heads, Spielberg refers to her as a set murderer right away. According to reports, Lawrence refers to her as a director's nightmare. And all of a sudden, when her name is mentioned, the term blacklisted isn't just fan conjecture. It's the new favorite word in the industry. Call logs are being leaked by insiders.
Well, like me, who watched Disney princess movies when the world was okay and it was acceptable for us to dream about being a princess as a woman and meeting a handsome prince. But oh no, these big bad feminists now are telling us that's ridiculous. How dare you want to meet a handsome prince?
Memoranda from crew panicked producers who are unsure of what to do next send frantic late-night texts. The message, Rachel, was a disaster, not just a hassle. The town is currently enjoying the repercussions. Hold on tight, for here is the inside tale of how two renowned directors ignited the match and how one woman supposedly destroyed every bridge in Hollywood. It began on the first day.
And be swept off of your feet and live happily ever after. No, you should want to be the prince. You should want to go out and fight the bad guys with a sword. And I'm like, I don't really want to do that.
Spielberg, who has collaborated with Tom Hanks in Meyer Street, saw right away that Zegler wasn't simply green. The staff claimed they hadn't seen her act that disrespectfully and arrogantly in decades. She would dispute with line delivery lines written decades ago that she believed she could enhance, challenge blocking notes in the middle of a scene, and gripe about camera angles. She reportedly rejected reshoots unless her creative instincts were respected, and would roll her eyes when lighting technicians changed her stance. Spielberg has now witnessed everything.
I just mean that it's no longer 1937, and we absolutely wrote a Snow White that is
not going to be saved by the prince.
She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be.
He has experience working with real divas, but what really infuriated him, according to insiders, was her complete lack of humility. She was given Maria on a silver platter, a role many actors would have killed for, but rumors from the set claim that she pretended to be helping him by turning up and Spielberg. He remained composed, took notes, and said nothing. But when the award season arrived and Ziegler's ego reached a breaking point, he lost it. According to insiders, Spielberg called studio executives twice and told them bluntly, never again.
And the leader that her late father told her that she could be if she was fearless, fair, brave, and true. And so it's just a really incredible story for, I think, young people everywhere to see themselves in.
Snow White is running for president.
I'm launching my campaign.
Rachel didn't back down when Steven Spielberg insisted that you pay attention. She poked fun at outdated filmmakers who can't deal with a powerful woman in an alluring interview. The subtext was heard by everyone in the industry. That was all she was discussing about him. Rachel went too far at that point, and no up-and-coming actress should ever do that. She not only lost Spielberg, but she turned him against her. According to Page 6, casting executives began designating her as a high-risk director shortly after the comment went public, and appointments were canceled.
Have they ever thought about maybe like a little bit of vulnerability study, opposition research, that sort of thing, before you go and hire some Zoomer who's a lunatic? Hardcore.
They're petrified of some kind of back.
All because one man had finished being kind. And let's face it, you're toast. If the man who gave us E.T. from Saving Private Ryan and Jurassic Park believes you're toxic. A press release was not issued. No scandalous headlines. The stillness was Deafening, yet there was no dramatic lawsuit. Hollywood cancels people in its own way, and it's rarely loud. Instead, insiders claim that Spielberg began doing what counts most in this town, quietly refusing to deal with her, and that everyone else followed suit. He didn't tweet or rant to TMZ. Phones abruptly stopped ringing. The project she worked on failed. Her team began rushing to offer her positions for which she would have previously been pursued for nothing. A YouTube gossip channel began assembling the pieces. Zegler was being iced out, not just taking a break. She attempted to change the narrative by declaring, "I have to be fearless and loud." But channel after channel began labeling it what it was, a blacklist leaping into comics. Fans weren't buying into the powerful, empowering tone that was intended. For all the wrong reasons, the quote went viral. TikTok comments dragged her for self-victimizing. People on Twitter referred to her as delusional. Executives in Hollywood simply rolled their eyes and their wallets. Because your reputation is what matters in this town, not your clapbacks. And if you've irritated Spielberg by adding drama to several sets, your reputation is doomed from the start. Zegler's supporters attempted to frame it as miscommunication, misogyny, and racism. But the most evident fact cannot be concealed by any PR gimmick. You're out when every casting director ignores your agent. Don't be fooled by Spielberg's petty behavior. The town read the room like this. Rachel Zegler is a liability, the room was yelling. In 2023, Poland. The on-set mood was almost perfectly matched by the icy, desolate background of the Songbird and Snake Ballad. Francis Lawrence was expecting to revitalize the Hunger Games universe by returning to the franchise that made billions. However, what he received was a replay of the Spielberg catastrophe. Zegler appeared on set as the franchisee from the very first day. According to sources, she requested last-minute rewrites on scenes that had been locked for months and handled the crew like interns. She reportedly walked off the set because the camera position wasn't feminine enough, according to one rumor. Another insider disclosed that she wouldn't wear a classic Lucy Gay dress since it didn't fit with contemporary femininity. And that's only the tip of the iceberg. Reddit production helpers referred to the vibe as toxic. One person even likened it to entering a bomb shelter each morning without knowing who she would lash out at. She allegedly changed several lines, on the spot, requiring whole camera crews to rearrange their coverage. Zegler refused to approve anything without first consulting the creative team. Thus, retakes took a long time. What should have been a steady 10-hour day grew into 14 to 16-hour marathons. Why? Because Rachel wanted to debate the emotional authenticity of a fictional song lyric. Yes, definitely. Crew members, some of whom had worked on Mockingjay and Catching Fire, nicknamed those weeks the Zone, a phrase now whispered like a horror story among younger filmmakers. And then came the worst part, the performance itself. Evie magazine tore her Lucy Gay beard to shreds, calling it cringy, haughty, and entirely miscast. Critics echoed the sentiment. Fans rejected her immediately, claiming she had no soul behind the eyes, just smirks and artificial frailty. However, Lawrence supposedly agreed with the real blow. Lionsgate boardroom. Leaks claim that the director informed executives bluntly, "I'll never babysit that attitude again." Consider that following one movie with Rachel, a franchise director, the same man who helped make Jennifer Lawrence a household name, was hired. It's more than just a negative review. That's a death sentence for future work. Because when someone like Francis Lawrence says you're a nightmare that echoes through every lot in town, late 2024, one phone call changed everything. Francis Lawrence had completed his post-production work at last. And instead of celebrating, he made a call. Not to Lionsgate's public relations staff or the studio, but to someone who truly knew what he had been through. Steven Spielberg, according to sources, it was only a brief exchange of frustrations. But what came out? Supposedly one of the most egregious backstage conflicts in recent Hollywood history. The call wasn't intended to leak, but it went viral after. A grip with the speakerphone on forwarded the entire exchange to a mediocre YouTube commentator. The same actress from Two Titans, One Nightmare Spielberg, allegedly said to Lawrence, She weaponizes her image but has no respect for the craft, according to the leak. Lawrence responded, "She acts like she's doing us a favor, like she's the franchise, not part of it. They weren't just commiserating, they were forming a pact. They promised to warn others, friends, producers, agents, and young directors. Protect your crews from the Zit effect." That's the line that Hollywood stuck with. Men such as Spielberg and Lawrence are taken seriously by Hollywood. At Warner, Rachel's name suddenly raised suspicions. Even Paramount apparently withdrew from a small streaming project at Universal after Spielberg's assistant allegedly suggested, "Not advisable." Suddenly, all of her impetus vanished. The representative became alarmed. According to reports, her management sent a last-ditch mass email offering Zegler a discounted price for prestigious indie tickets. Because you can be sure that people will pay attention and act fast if two of Hollywood's most recognized and financially secure directors are warning them to avoid Hollywood thrives on takedowns but loves a comeback. And it becomes gospel when Spielberg and Lawrence are involved in that takedown. Rachel was officially radioactive, so she wasn't simply on the outs. Then, in March 2025, Snow White exploded. Budget: $350 million with a dismal $43 million domestic opening. Insiders from Vanity Fair pinned the body to Zegler's never-ending public relations traps. Disney didn't have a red carpet. No one is afraid that she will throw another political hand bomb or swing at another classic. Her last line of defense was burned by the fallout. According to Facebook clips, Disney placed an internal "do not hire" tag next to her name. According to insiders, the two directors did not plot retaliation when they met over lunch last week. Both of them agreed on a single sentence, after comparing notes on reconstructing sets, morale, funds, and whatever. Zegler reportedly destroyed. "We will spread the word quickly if the studios don't protect the staff." The indication was picked up by agencies. Rachel posted a mysterious tweet saying, "Silence is violence," as casting chiefs became more stringent. After 10 minutes, it disappeared, but screenshots remain forever. Despite the filmmaker's quiet words, Hollywood heard a thunderclap.